through the rest of the season in the Big Ten. Does he see Ohio State and Oregon on a collision course for the Big Ten title game? Justin Hopkins, Scoop Duck at 420. And then at 520, Brian No. Bino! Fox Sports Radio going to join the show. And he'll probably hang out for a couple of segments. We'll talk ball. We'll get his reaction to some of the big stories in the NFL and the big games coming up this weekend. And we'll talk to Gambling No and see what are some of the props or games that he likes this coming weekend. And then at 4 o'clock, I've got a very special guest because today is a very big anniversary. So you'll get that story coming up at 4 o'clock. And for those of you who missed it, as I've told you before, I am a man of the people, and I want to take care of you. So I've got my conversations with Damian Lillard and Trailblazers General Manager Joe Cronin that I will share on the program again coming out of Media Day on Monday because the season's going to kick off next week. We have a preseason game on the 8th against the Warriors. We have a preseason game on the 10th, the first game at Moda Center. That is against the Kings. And, oh, by the way, tomorrow at 2 o'clock, it is Fan Fest at Moda Center, 2 o'clock. You can get your tickets right now. Just go to trailblazers.com/fanfest and get your tickets. And the good news is free parking at the Garden Garage. The other great news is that it is first come, first served, general admission. So if you want to sit down courtside to be able to watch the guys in their action tomorrow at Fan Fest, show up early, get in line, and you can take whatever seat you want. There'll be concession stands open so you can have some food and beverage. The Blazer dancers are going to be there, stunt team, the whole crew. It's going to be a great time. Fan Fest is a lot of fun, and that will be at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Go to trailblazers.com/fanfest to get your tickets for the event. I want to start with yesterday. Another great sports day in a week that's been a phenomenal sports week. And now in October, we're entering into one of the greatest sports months of the entire year, because we got baseball playoffs, which are now in action. We have the NFL season in full swing, along with college football, and college basketball is right around the corner. So we have so many great things going on. And last night was awesome because I'm watching the Yankees and Red Sox in Game 3. The winner will advance to meet the Blue Jays. Yankees get the job done, and I'm also watching Thursday Night Football. And you know how Thursday Night Football works. Normally we get a bad matchup with crappy teams, and it's a bad game. Plus, the teams are working on a short week, so they don't have the preparation time. The road teams at a disadvantage because they have 1 day less for preparation because they're traveling. And last night looked like it was going to be a crap game. The 49ers were entering in with a slew of injuries. Brock Purdy was out. Their top 2 wide receivers were out. No tight end. Defense banged up. No Bosa. There were a lot of reasons why the 49ers were a 9-point underdog going into the game last night against the Rams. And the Rams were coming off a big one over the Colts, one of the best teams in football. Their only loss in the year coming to the Eagles. And Matthew Stafford has looked sharp early in the season. So it looked like a mismatch on paper, but that's why they play the games, right? The 49ers came out, they scored early, and they held their advantage right up until the very end. And the Rams somehow, some way forced overtime. But the 49ers, with their grit and their toughness, led by Mac Jones, got the job done and won it by a field goal. And the Rams had a number of self-inflicted wounds, but I got to give credit to Kyle Shanahan and Mac Jones. I thought that was a tough, gutty win. And you know it, just like I do in the NFL, no win is better than a road division win. It's the best win you can get in the NFL. It's the most important game, and the 49ers went in and improved to 4-1 with a win over the Rams, who looked like the best team in the NFC West. It was awesome. And I thought Mac Jones, he is looking a lot like Baker Mayfield or Geno Smith or Sam Darnold. A guy who was in a bad situation in New England. He gets thrown to the curb, and he gets a chance to reinvigorate his career with Kyle Shanahan. And it's very simple. If you're drafted by a bad franchise and your career gets off to a rocky start, you need to pick up the phone and call either Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan. Because if you get attached to one of those two guys, they're going to make sure that your career gets on track. And what Mac Jones did last night was terrific. He played a good game. He took advantage of what was open underneath the defense, but he showed great toughness. He got hit a number of times last night. There were multiple times where he hobbled off the field, and you weren't really sure if he's going to be able to continue to play, and yet he continued to pop up and get himself out there. And the one thing I do know, he earned the respect of every single guy in that locker room last night. With the toughness, the grittiness, and leading his team to victory, it was awesome. And a couple of key plays late in that game. First off, the Rams, down by a field goal, have the ball late in the game, deep in 49er territory, inside the 5, first and goal, and it looks like they're going to score. And that's when Alfred Collins came up big.
Stafford takes, gives Kyron Williams, and he is...
Ball out!
He fumbled it! The Niners are saying they got it. The play was shy of the line to gain. Wait for a signal. They're unpiling everybody at the 1. The 49ers come out of there. Alfred Collins has the football.
Yeah, huge fumble. Now, normally the game would be over at that point, but the Rams still had 3 timeouts, and the fumble was at the 1. So the 49ers had to be very conservative on the offensive end, and they forced the Rams to burn their timeouts. And the Rams were able to get the ball back, get in field goal range. They forced overtime. But in overtime, after the 49ers took the opening kick and got a field goal, the Rams once again drove right down the field and had a chance. 4th down and 1, and the 49ers defense came up strong.
4th down and 1 for the Rams. Niners lead by 3, a chance to win it with a stop here in overtime. Stafford gets under center at the 11-yard line. He takes it, he turns, he gives to Kyron Williams. He gets packed. I think he's short, Tim. I think he's short. And the 49ers stormed the field. It is all over. The 49ers have won it in overtime here in L.A.
That's Guy Haberman in for Greg Papa on the call. The 49ers get the win. And after the game, Coach Shanahan talked about Mac Jones' performance.
He played his ass off, man. Was unbelievable in the first half. Got banged up a little bit there in the second half and battled through it and protected the ball, going against that defense and throwing the ball that many times and not having a turnover and protecting like he did. I can't say enough good things about Mac.
Yeah, it was great. That hit he took in the second half, I mean, he was in pain, and it looked like his knee was ripped up. They went to commercial, and I thought, well, Mac Jones is done. Unbelievable. And then they came back, and they showed Mac Jones trotting off the field, and he was able to come back on and finish the game. He was terrific. Coach also talked about Alfred Collins' forced fumble, where the Rams were knocking on the door right at the 1-yard line.
I was hoping we could at least hold him to a field goal there, and then when I heard the noise and everything, kept looking, and it was unbelievable. I knew everyone was celebrating, but knowing they had 3 timeouts and being right there on the 1, didn't get to really appreciate it at the time, but definitely appreciate it now.
All right, one thing from the other side, Matt Stafford, who threw for well over 300 yards. He had a big game. His teammates didn't help him out with the turnovers. They had a missed extra point. They had a blocked field goal. They had the fumble by Williams at the 1, which was brutal. They had an earlier fumble when they were in scoring position in the first half. They just made so many mistakes. They got stacked up on that 4th down play. Matt Stafford, little Q&A on tempers flaring in the locker room.
We can, see and hear tempers are understandably high after one like this. How do you keep guys together, keep this from...
Oh, I'm not worried about guys being not together. Guys are pissed off because they care. If everybody was laughing and joking, I'd be a little bit more concerned. So, I feel like we, had opportunities to win the game, like I said multiple times. We didn't get it done. Guys are ticked. I like that.
All right, there you go. He wants to see the guys are pissed because it means they care. And it looked like Kyron Williams, he might have been crying on the sideline after that fumble. Absolutely brutal. I think he had 5 fumbles last year, had a key fumble here. He learned it from his dad, Mike Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan will tell you. Nothing more important than ball security. And the Rams let that one slip through their fingers. Here's what I know about a win like that. That's the type of win that can transform your entire season. A game that you have no business winning based on the injuries that you have incurred, and you go in there on the road and win a division game like that. Nothing is bigger. Now, the question is, are there too many injuries for the 49ers to continue to overcome? I don't know. Time will tell. But one thing for certain, Mac Jones, I don't know how many more games he's going to start for the 49ers this year, but right now he is changing the way people view him around the NFL. It's that simple. You go out there, you get with a team, and you show toughness, you make plays, you make good decisions, and you lead teams to victory. That's what it's all about. And the great thing is in the NFL, if you've got a good backup like Mac Jones, some teams do, some teams don't. But you need a good backup because inevitably someone's going to go down with an injury, and when you got someone that can step in and make plays like that, it's huge. I'll ask Burkhart, who is the resident 49er fan. You got to feel good about that one. I mean, that was a tough, gritty win on a night going in where it looked like the Rams were going to be able to cruise to victory. And the 49ers came out and got it done.
Well, you have to love it because as injured as they've been, they're with a backup quarterback. They're now sitting there at 3-0 in the division. I mean, that's massive to do that, especially this early in the year when they bookend them and give you them early in the season. The crazy part is they beat the Seahawks, they beat the Cardinals, they now beat the Rams by a combined 8 points. Like, football is a crazy game.
It's great. You got to love it. All right, we'll keep things rolling. We'll come back, and when we do, you're going to hear from Joe Cronin, Trailblazers general manager. And I asked him, what was the spark that got the conversation going between both sides, the team and Dame, to where now he's back in a Trailblazer uniform. We're going to find that out. Justin Hopkins, Scoop Duck at 4:20, Brian Noe at 5:20, and a very special guest at 4 o'clock. I'm Chad Doing. You got the Rip City Drive on the home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, Mariners, game 1 against the Tigers tomorrow. And I'm trying to figure out who's going to pitch for the Tigers. I checked a couple of listings. It's still TBD. George Kirby will start for the Mariners. 5:38 on FS1. I like Seattle to win that series. I think the Mariners are going to the World Series. I think they're the best team in the American League, and I think they got the pitching and the defense to get it done. Now they just got to hope that the bats can get them a few timely hits, but I think they're well positioned. I would say it's down to 3 teams in the American League. It's Yankees, Blue Jays, or Mariners. But I'm excited about this series, and I credit the Tigers, man. They showed toughness against the Guardians. You know, they collapsed down the stretch, but they came out and somehow grabbed 2 or 3 in that wild card series in advance. It looked like they were lifeless going into the final day of the regular season. They get in, and then all of a sudden they get Scooble, 14 strikeouts. It's amazing how that can kind of settle the team down. And they advance, and now will take on the Mariners. And for Seattle, I mean, really what? This is their best team, their best chance since 2001. Almost 25 years since they've been in a position like this. Now, conventional wisdom would say they're the Mariners. They're going to find a way to screw it up. And I understand that. But I do think this team has what it takes. And I'm looking forward to this postseason. We get nothing but nonstop baseball tomorrow, starting in the morning, Cubs, Brewers, all the way through the nightcapper with the Mariners and Tigers. How good is that going to be? And also, I just want to make sure I give proper credit to Kyle Shanahan. That was a hell of a coaching job last night. And the 49ers getting that win over the Rams. What a great job. And I love coaches like that. And that's really what the NFL is. It's like, yeah, we have injuries. So does basically every team in the NFL, but we're not going to make excuses for it. And we've seen him do this during the time he's been there in San Francisco, where he suffered serious injury. He's working with a different quarterback. He's got to plug this guy in. They plug that guy in. But they continue to coach them up and put their team in a position to win. That's what good coaches do. And look, Kyle Shanahan, like any coach, is not without his faults. But last night, that was impressive. And as Chris pointed out, you got 3 wins in division. They got a home win over the Cardinals, and they've got road wins against the 2 best teams in division in the Seahawks and the Rams. And they're sitting there at 4-1. How impressive is that? So big props. And again, Mac Jones, I mean, he was pretty much on life support when he was left for dead by the Patriots. But we're seeing it now in the NFL. It wasn't like this before when I was younger. Guys who were drafted high in the first round at quarterback, if it didn't work out with the first team, they were pretty much done. But now we're seeing teams give other guys a second chance. And if you get with a better team, maybe a better coach or the right fit, it gives you an opportunity to showcase what you can do. And look, Mac Jones, he's not a dynamic quarterback. He's not going to run around like Lamar Jackson. He doesn't have the arm strength of Patrick Mahomes, but he is really smart. Last night he showed incredible toughness, and he's accurate with the football. And if you give him enough time, he can put the ball in the right place. And they had, some receivers like Bourne last night really stepping up, coming off a game where he had a number of drops against Jacksonville. But he was big time last night. I just love to see wins like that because I know how significant they are and how a win like that can carry you throughout the course of a season. And you start to believe it's like, man, we had no business winning that game, and yet we made the plays to get it done. And you start to believe, and then, teams will come together and it starts to galvanize. And I think that win could do a lot of great things for the 49ers, assuming they don't have more significant injuries around the corner, which they probably will, because that's what happens to that franchise. No team has dealt with more significant injury over the last few years than the 49ers. It's insane. Also, Lamar Jackson is out this weekend. He's not going to play. The Texans will be in Baltimore. And Houston, with all the injuries Baltimore suffered, now a 1.5-point favorite. And the Ravens, not just with the injury issues, but their defense has been awful. And they can't run the football. I think right now, this is a crazy stat. When Derrick Henry is on the field, they have the 32nd ranked offense in the NFL. How's that even possible? You got Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, and you're like the 32nd best offense in the league? What? I don't understand. There's a lot of things I don't understand. But the Ravens right now are a hot mess. In that game, don't forget, Sunday morning, 6:30 over in London, Vikings, Carson Wentz will start again in place of J.J. McCarthy. I'm glad to see that J.J. McCarthy pick's working out. You think they regret that by now? And then Dylan Gabriel is going to get his first start in his NFL career going for the Browns. Good luck, Dylan. You're going to need it. And he's going up against Brian Flores, probably the best defensive coordinator in the league. I just would like to know how excited a guy like Flores is to go up against a rookie quarterback. All right, 503-248-0620. Justin Hopkins of Scoop Duck is going to stop by at 420. Got to get his take on the team coming off the big one over Penn State. And talent-wise, I want to know what's coming to town here in a week with Indiana. Hoosiers and Ducks, now suddenly a monster game in the Big Ten. All right, Monday was Trailblazer Media Day, and I had a chance to talk to basically everybody, including Trailblazers General Manager Joe Cronin. And I wanted to share the conversation for those who didn't hear it because we got games coming up next week. And the first thing I asked Joe, I was really curious about, what started the conversation to get Dame back in a Trailblazer uniform. What was the relationship like? Was it icy 2 years ago when the trade was made? Do you guys still have a ton of respect for one another? I want to know how that happened because it's pretty crazy that Dame's back in a Trailblazer uniform, and he started out by answering that question for me.
Well, I had
Dame, you can't take over for Joe right now. Settle down.
It all happened so quickly, and something you can't really prepare for, like for Dame to become a free agent when he did, Milwaukee waiving him and pivoting like they did. It just all happened so fast that it was once he cleared waivers, okay, like how do we get really proactive here? And he and his agent and I connected right away and, had some very basic conversations and right away teed it up, okay, let me and Dame get together. And us two just started talking, and Dame and I had multiple meetings over the course of the next, really, we took 2 weeks. We took our time. We knew there was mutual interest. We thought something could happen. We just wanted to talk it out all the way, make sure all of our goals were aligned. And the more we talked, it just became clearer and clearer that was going to work. And connected Dame with Chauncey. They had a couple good sit downs as well. And everything made sense. So happened fast, but very organically and smoothly and naturally. And couldn't be more excited about having Dame back here.
What's great is the majority of Blazer fans I've spoken with, they don't even care what he does on the floor at this point forward. They're just happy to have him back,
Yep.
Because of the connection between Dame and the team and the town and Rip City.
Exactly. His impact, everywhere he goes, obviously walking through our building for the first time, when we did the press conference, it was so cool, seeing him be at a table with us. And it was so cool seeing him walk back into the locker room and have his locker right there for him and having him in the practice facility every day. It's incredible. He's where he belongs, like we were saying. And it just, 2 weeks ago, we did a big welcome back rally for Dame, and thousands of people showed up. It was loud. It was electric. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And
They packed Pioneer Courthouse Square on an NFL Sunday.
they did.
It was awesome.
It was awesome. And it just shows, the love that Dame has from these fans, from this community. And we just are on cloud nine having Dame back in our world.
Gosh, it's awesome. Joe Cronin with us here on Trailblazer Media Day. Drew Holiday is back in Portland. What I'm most curious about here, what I've been telling people, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, is from my understanding, when he was originally acquired in the Dame trade, you and Chauncey made an effort to sit down with him, and you have a good relationship with him. You're like, hey, we're not going to use you right now. We want to move you, but we want to help you get to a spot that's going to benefit you. Mm-hmm. So that process goes through. He winds up in Boston, which was a great spot for him, and he wins a championship. And then when he comes back around, how much did that relationship and what you had done together before help with the reacquisition of Drew this time around?
Yeah, I think it definitely helped. There was a mutual respect that, yes. Him and Chauncey, they had known each other for a long, long time. So that part was easy. But just the respect that Drew acquired through that original process when we traded him to Boston, that he acquired for the organization and myself, I think it established a trust level that he was really comfortable with. And then you combine that with a young, capable, up-and-coming roster that was intriguing to him, and I think those two things made this, a happy occasion for him.
I mean, he's going to help you guys win basketball games right now, isn't he?
He is. He's, a really capable player, and one we think fits tremendously well with our roster. Obviously, over the years, I've talked a lot about, we're not going to be ready until we're talented enough, and Drew absolutely is a talent addition, but we become more and more, as we've improved and as we continue to take steps, we've become more and more focused on adding the right type of guy, the right fit with our roster. And for us, Drew's perfect. He's a really capable two-way player. Obviously still an elite defender, but very, very competent on the offensive side as well. But with Drew, he doesn't need the ball to be successful. He's very capable with the ball, but he can also play off the ball. And for us, that was intriguing, especially with the quality ball handlers that we have. Danny Avdia, Shaden Sharp, Scoot Henderson. Like, Scoot can play with these guys and fit seamlessly with them. And Drew can, I should have said, can seamlessly play with these guys. And for us, that's really exciting.
Yeah, I love that. He can play on ball, he can be off ball, and that allows all the other guys to continue to facilitate the way they have. I'm a big fan of Drew, and I would imagine, too, that when you have a younger core that maybe isn't as expensive based on where guys are at, does that help you when bringing on a bigger deal like Drew?
It does. The success of our young guys and the way we've teed up our books, it allowed us to take on, a bigger contract with Drew. And that's one of the luxuries. You see it like in football as well, where when you have the rookie scale quarterback, those teams are often pretty good because they're able to spend elsewhere. And we have so many guys on rookie scale, first round pick or second round pick contracts. It allows us to be a little more aggressive in acquiring, vets that we think fit what we're trying to build.
We're talking to Joe Cronin. Young Hansen, drafted from China. I love what Chauncey Billups said during your press conference after the selection on draft night, where he said basketball is a universal language. And I hadn't thought of it like that, but it makes sense, right, where he may not be able to speak English fluently with his teammates, but basketball players, when they're on the basketball floor, they're never speaking. It's almost like a lot of it's unspoken. They just know what to do. And when he explained it like that, I was like, this process may be a lot easier than what I originally thought.
Yeah, I think so. And we saw it in Summer League. I thought, he had been in America, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And doesn't speak the language very well yet, but on the court you couldn't really tell. And throughout Summer League we saw him directing traffic, which, that is a universal thing. It's okay, I catch at the high post here, I need you to go screen away. That's a point, and for him, of course, basketball is a universal language, and then with him with such an incredible basketball IQ and feel, it makes it that much easier.
Do you expect any G League time for Hansen, or is he going to spend his time with the team throughout the year?
It's possible. It'll depend on what his role is with the Trailblazers. We think he has a good chance of cracking our rotation and getting quality minutes early on. If he doesn't, I'll be very mindful of getting him as much development as possible. So if we're not seeing him get enough reps with the Blazers, we're very open-minded to the remix. But if it's going well with the Blazers, we'll just leave it be. So really just depends on the role he earns with us and the amount of reps he's getting with the Blazers.
All right, you guys had a tremendous finish to the season. Like I think second half of the year you were basically top 5 defense. What I'm curious about, I was thrilled when you and Chauncey both got new deals, because I'm a big believer in continuity. So I'm wondering, how much does that help to have basically the same core, and especially the young guys that we're all excited about, come back with the same head coach, they understand the system. That should promote to continue the type of defensive success that we saw at the end of last year, right?
Absolutely. The cohesion, it's an important part. We did the original Dame trade. It was the anniversary was 2 years ago on Saturday. And that year we had brought in, I don't even know the exact number, but it was at least 5 rookies or first-year players, and I think 7 or 8 new players overall. And cohesion and chemistry really matters. Like, they were all a good group of guys, but they had never played together. They were learning a new system. It was somewhat chaotic that whole season. And to be able to, we're returning 12 of our 15, and, one new addition is Drew Holiday, who will pick up everything very, very quickly.
Yeah.
The other is Young Hansen, who will do the same because he's, obviously he's a rookie. He's got things to learn, but again, the basketball IQ is high. But to seamlessly add these guys, along with these, we've added a lot of new assistant coaches as well. But the cohesion of the roster and what they were established identity-wise last year, we expect that to be very seamless and hopefully hit the ground running as we roll the ball out tomorrow.
All right, thought process on the Scoot hamstring injury. Is there great concern there, or is it just a matter of needing some time to deal with it? Is he going to be okay?
Yep, he's going to be fine. Okay. It's, of course, disappointing. He had an awesome offseason.
Yeah, I was hoping the young guys, you want them to get out there and play right away.
You want him to get out and play right away. And I was just in my press conference, and I didn't even realize it until 2 days ago. But this is the third year in a row. 2 years ago, Anthony Simon's first game, thumb surgery. So he missed about 25 games. Last season, Shaden Sharp, first practice, shoulder. He missed the first 10 games. This year, Scoot. So we're not new to this.
Yeah.
And it's funny looking back. I don't really remember those guys, Anthony and Shaden, being out a whole long time. So, like, it happens quickly and you recover pretty quickly. But in the near term, you look at it and you just feel bad for him. And, of course, it's a big loss for the Trailblazers. That's an important player on our roster. But concern-wise, no. It's just get him some rest, get him some rehab. We'll get him back up and running, in no time.
All right. What are your expectations for the team this year?
Yeah. To continue to launch off of last year, I thought that second half of the season, we played
good basketball.
Good basketball, yep. Above 500 ball.
How many? The amount of individual guys who improved defensively was impressive.
It was impressive, yep. And I think that's our challenge, to not stay stagnant and not take a step back from there. Like, defensively, we have to continue to ascend. Doing it over 82 games is a lot different than doing it over 41.
That's a great point.
And it's really what we're locked in on. We know that in order to be competitive, we have to get stops.
Yeah.
Our offense, while improving, is still not a strength. And defensively, we're really, really capable. And the way to improve our offense is to not have to play in the half court.
Yeah.
And the more stops we get, the more possessions we close out, the better chance we have of thriving offensively, which, of course, hopefully launches us into a different winning stratosphere.
Yeah, turnovers are a great way to create easy offense, as you know. All right, final thought. If I would have come up to you 2 years ago and said, hey, Joe, in just under 2 years, you're going to be re-signing Dame, you would have thought I was crazy.
Crazy. No chance. Not that we wouldn't have wanted to, but...
How icy was it between you and Dame 2 years ago?
Well...
Was it? I only know what was reported, but was it icy?
It was cold. I don't know if I would say it was icy. I think...
so the bridges weren't burned?
They weren't burned,
okay.
I don't think, because I think there was always a mutual respect.
Okay.
It was just one of those situations where we just were not on the same page.
Yeah.
And, over the course of that summer, it wasn't our most ideal setup between he and I. I don't think it was icy. I know I've respect the hell out of him.
Yeah.
And I think it's mutual. Like, he and I had such a good relationship that it was definitely one where there wasn't enough scar tissue to recover from.
Gosh, that's awesome. All right, Joe Cronin, always great to catch up with you. I look forward to chatting with you throughout the year, but good luck this season. And, hey, you deserve props when you do good things, man. Your offseason was money. Home run, baby.
Thank you, Chad. Much appreciated.
All right, Joe Cronin. He's really excited about the young core. And the way I see the season going through my eyes, I think early in the season we'll see some offensive struggle. One, because they're trying to replace Ant, who is a high-volume guy. But also they're learning this new system that's being taught by Tiago Splitter. Now, in the end, they're making the right move because this random idea of the offense where multiple guys are going to be touching it, we're going to see movement. We've been praying for this for years, so I'm excited about that. But the defense is what's going to carry this team early because I expect them to be a top 10 defense through the first half of this year, just like they were to finish up last year. You get the same core guys coming back, same coach. They know what's expected of them, and now they got to go out and execute it. We're going to talk with Justin Hopkins from Scoop Duck at 420. We got a special guest with a very big day coming in studio at 4. And then at 520, Bino, Brian No, Fox Sports Radio, going to talk ball. And we'll ask Gambling No some of his picks for the upcoming weekend in the NFL. Telephone number if you want to jump on board, 503-248-0620. You've got the Rip City Drive with Chad doing on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, a couple of things to remind you of. Don't forget tomorrow, Fan Fest with the Portland Trailblazers at Moda Center. It's a free event. And when I say free, I mean 100% free. One, you can get your tickets now. Just go to trailblazers.com/fanfest. And for the event, you can park for free in the Garden Garage. And if you line up early, it is first come, first served general admission. You can walk right in and get the best seat in the house. It's really a good event for the family. The kids will love it. Go to trailblazers.com/fanfest to get your tickets. That is 2 o'clock tomorrow at Moda Center. And you don't have to worry about college football because the Ducks have a bye week. And I've looked at the schedule. There are some games that are attractive, but not a ton. And then coming up on Monday after Monday Night Football, you can tune in to your home of the Blazers 620 Rip City Radio. There's going to be an intimate conversation between Lamar Hurd, Trailblazers analyst, and Blazers coach Chauncey Billups. It's also going to air on K2, where Chauncey's going to share stories, give you a behind-the-scenes look at this upcoming season and the squad that he's got this year. And, of course, we all love Lamar. That's coming up on Monday. You can catch it live here on 620 Rip City Radio following Monday Night Football, so somewhere between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. Brian Noe, Fox Sports Radio is coming up at 5:20, and we're going to dive into the NFL. There are some terrific football games, so I thought what I would do is tell you or give you my picks, some of my against the spread picks for this weekend, and then we'll talk about some of these games coming up with Brian Noe at 5:20. Also, Duke, the UPS guy, told me that he disagrees with my take about the Mariners. He is a Yankee fan and thinks the Yankees are going to the World Series. He's not wrong. I agree. The Yankees are one of the best teams in the American League, and they're capable of getting there. I think the Mariners, like the Blue Jays, all three of those teams are capable. I think one of those three will make it to the World Series. I think the Mariners are best suited right now to make that happen. My only issue with the Yankees, and if you talk to a Yankee fan, heck, talk to Travis Demers, he'll be happy to air it out. Their bullpen. Their bullpen is a disaster right now. And if they don't get quality starting pitching, they're going to have issues. And so I don't trust teams with questionable pitching in these type of high leverage moments. So that's why I lean Seattle this year to come out of the American League. Same thing with the Dodgers, by the way. The Dodgers spend more money than anybody. They've got the best lineup of anyone in baseball, and yet their season will be teetering on disaster throughout the rest of the postseason. Why? Well, like the Yanks, their bullpen is unreliable. And you know how this goes. Manager Roberts will come out with the cue card that he gets from the front office. Well, you pitched 6 innings. I don't care how many pitches you've thrown so far. We got to pull you. My guess is I'm hoping that maybe for the love of all that is right, that Roberts will start to maybe allow his starter to go an extra inning like we saw with Snell in the wild card round. Why put your bullpen out there and allow them to get gassed? They've been a disaster. And, in the second half of the season, and it's been very costly. Fortunately for them, their starting rotation is starting to get healthy. But I would say those two teams, Yanks, Dodgers, questionable bullpen, and in the postseason, that can be a big-time problem. Pitching is critical. It's everything. The three things. What are the three keys? We all know it. Timely hitting, defense, and pitching. And the Yankees' bullpen is a big question mark, as is the Dodgers' bullpen. It's been a hot mess over the last couple of months of the season. Now, on Sunday morning, we got the early slate of games. And the one game I do like, the Giants at the Saints. Right now, New Orleans favored by 1.5. I love the Saints in this game. I love the Saints because you've got a team with a rookie quarterback making his very first road start, and it's a big role reversal for him. He's got, an opportunity to come out. He got the win against the Chargers at home last week. Now he's going to take off on the road, first road game in the Dome, and he's taking on a desperate football team that is winless. And if there's any games on the Saints' schedule that they're going to win this year, and they're probably going to end up with the worst record in football, they'll be right there with the Jets and the Titans. This is one of those games. I like the Titans to upset the Giants and get the victory in the Dome. I like the Jets plus the 2 points at home against the Cowboys. And I think the big issue here for Dallas is, one, their defense. They're not stopping anyone. I thought Dak and the offense had a great game against Green Bay on Sunday night, but I think the Jets are going to gouge them with the run game, and I like the Jets to get the upset over the Cowboys. I like the Broncos to go into Philadelphia as a 4.5-point dog and get the win over the Eagles. The Broncos are catching the Eagles, I think, at the right time. They've got some issues in the clubhouse. Their offense is hit or miss right now. They're not running the football well. And the Broncos' defense has been fantastic. They lead the NFL in sacks. And I think they'll be able to do enough defensively to put their offense in a position to succeed. Big game for Bo Nix to show that he can go on the road and beat one of the better teams in football. I like the Texans over the Ravens in Baltimore with all of the injuries. I like the Seahawks minus a 3.5 against the Buccaneers. And I love the Commanders plus 3.5 in LA against the Chargers. Tough spot for Justin Herbert right there. And we'll dive into more of this with Brian Noe at 520. I also like the Jags plus 3.5 at home on Monday night against the Chiefs. All right, when we come back, I got a special guest in studio to celebrate a big day. And then we'll talk with Justin Hopkins of Scoop Duck at 420, get his take on the Ducks coming out of the Penn State victory. And then we'll get his insight on the talent level of Indiana as they get ready to make their trip to Eugene, where the Hoosiers and Ducks will face off at Autzen. All right, 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. You got the Rip City Drive with Chad doing on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, what's up? 4 o'clock chat here. What's up, my friends? Hope you're enjoying your Friday. The Mariners will kick off the ALDS tomorrow against the Tigers. George Kirby gets the start for the Mariners in Game 1. That first pitch at 5:38. You can watch it on FS1. 4 games tomorrow, starting with the Cubs and Brewers at 11:08. That one on TBS. Elsewhere, the Dodgers will meet the Phillies, and the Yankees take on the Blue Jays. Lamar Jackson has been ruled out. Ravens host the Texans Sunday. 10 o'clock kick on CBS. Houston now is a 1.5-point favorite. Carson Wentz gets another start in place of J.J. McCarthy. Vikings meet the Browns in London on NFL Network. Dylan Gabriel will make his first NFL start. Minnesota favored by 3.5. And Jaden Daniels is officially a go for Sunday. Commanders meet the Chargers. L.A. favored by 3. Justin Hopkins of Scoop Ducks coming up at 4:20. And we'll talk ball with Brian Noah of Fox Sports Radio at 5:20. All right, Chris Burkhart's a big Metallica fan. Sad but true. I don't know if it's my favorite Metallica song, but I sure love it. It's right up there. I just know when I hear this song, I want to go play football like a middle linebacker and tackle people.
Yeah, this is run through a wall music.
Yeah.
It's a good intro.
It is a good one. All right, Justin Hopkins is coming up in 20 minutes, and then Brian No Fox Sports Radio 520. But right now, what a pleasure it is to welcome in a very good friend, one of my best friends, and today marks a very big anniversary, 5 years, in fact, and he's here to share the story with us. My friend Josh Trainer's in the studio. What's up, brother?
How you doing, Chad?
Dude, it's so good to see you. You've just been hanging out, watching me operate, so it's great to finally get you on the air.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today.
Now, you've been on before, and we've shared the story, and I've talked about this before, but it's hard to believe it's already been 5 years. But 5 years ago to the day is when you and I were playing golf up at Wildwood. Many people are familiar with the golf course. We were walking the course. You were carrying your clubs, and that very popular turn from 15 up to 16 when you're walking up that 90-degree angle on the hill. When you get to the tee box, my hips are gassed. I'm looking for air and looking for something to drink because I'm exhausted. And it was right at about that time where I started to notice a change in you. You weren't feeling well at the time, and then it just progressed from 16, 17, and 18 until you got done with your round, where you stopped playing probably around 16 or 17 because you weren't feeling well. And little did we know what was happening there. But let's walk through that day before we talk about the significance of today. You had a heart attack.
Yeah. And I could feel, I teed off on 16, walk up to the ball. It was a nice tee shot. I walk up to the ball, and I starting to feel horrible. Like I couldn't catch my breath. My shoulders were starting to hurt. I'm just like doubled over. And like I tried to finish out 16, teed off on 17. I'm like, that was not a great tee shot. I'm just not feeling good. Picked up my ball and like and just basically walked off 17 and sat down on the retaining wall at 18. And then you finished out 17. You're getting ready to tee off on 18. Do you want me to carry your bag down to the parking lot? I'm like, no, I got it. I'll carry it down. So you finish out. I just walked down. I didn't even hit 18. We get down to the parking lot, and you're like, do you want me to drive you home? Back over to Beaverton. No, I got it. I'm good. And you're like, okay. So, but yeah, no, driving myself back over to the Beaverton side, over Cornelius Pass, no less. I wouldn't suggest that. Like, if you're having a heart attack, driving yourself over Cornelius Pass. I just would not suggest that. But, yeah, and I could tell. Like, there was something wrong.
Did you know what was going on?
I knew I needed to get to the ER. I didn't know something's going on. I'm sweating profusely. I can't get air. My shoulders and my chest just hurt. And I know I'm understanding it's heart related,
Yeah.
right? I had one prior heart attack, so I'm very attentive.
Oh, you had a heart attack before that.
Yes.
Were you aware of that one when it happened?
It was way less dramatic than this one.
How many years was that one before the second one there at Wildwood?
About 10 years. Yeah. So, but I just knew I needed to get to the ER. And once I did, had some stents put in, said if the stents don't work, we're going to crack your chest open. And sure enough, they did, thankfully. And
what do the stents do? They just open up
they
for
open
blood
up the
flow?
artery.
Or?
Yeah. So my left descending, which is your widowmaker, that was blocked, right? And that's the one that takes your life, right? And that's why they call it that. So sure enough, the stents worked. I have 4 stents in total, 2 from that event and 2 from my first event. So 4 stents total.
Now, do those stents just stay in there forever?
They just stay in. Yep. Yeah.
Do you ever have to have them replaced, or are those things pretty much good to go forever?
They're just good to go. Yeah. So.
Wow. So heart attack. How close do you think you were to dying that day?
I remember sitting in my living room and the EMTs finally getting the EKG readout. They couldn't stick on the stickers onto my chest because I was sweating profusely. Like they wouldn't stick.
Oh, they wouldn't stick.
Finally, they were able to get the EKG reading. And I remember explicitly the EMT showing it to the other, like, we got to go now. We've got to go. And on the gurney, into the back of the ambulance, at St. Vincent's in what felt like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And, so I feel like at any moment, right, in that kind of window when we finished golfing to getting to the ER, anything could have happened right there.
Yeah. So over the last 5 years, I think you've dropped 60 to 65 pounds.
Correct.
So physically, you're in much better condition and health. What's been the overall prognosis in terms of where you're at today compared to back then? What do the doctors think about the weight loss and your activity and just where you're at now? How's things looking with the heart when you get your checkups?
Everything looks great from a heart perspective. So the cardiologist is you can go do anything you'd like to do. Any level of exertion that you'd like to do. There's no long-term heart damage from this event. So whatever you'd like to do and you can go do, then you can do that.
That's great.
There's no inhibition as far as activity as to what I can do, physically. So,
well, this event, I mean, I've known you for a long time, but I would say that, from that day moving forward in just the time I spent with you, like it had a significant change on you on many different levels. Like you consider today to be your new birthday, right? Because it was when you were given a second lease on life.
correct.
So 5 years ago when the event happened and moving forward, this is a big day for you because you consider it your birthday. And I'm just thankful that you hit me up and said, hey, Friday's going to be the anniversary. I want to spend some time with you. We should go get dinner. I said, no problem. It's on. But you do consider this your new birthday because of what took place and the fact that you are here with me and talking to everyone right now.
Right. And it is. My birthday is in November. I'll turn 50. But today is the day that I consider, I was given new life.
Yeah.
New life. October 3rd, 2020 was when this event took place. And so now every October 3rd it's a big deal to me. It's a very big deal.
Now, how do you look at, I think the way you've said it before is like, or when we talk is like, hey, I've got today. Like you're really focused on the here and now. You have a newfound focus on your faith without question. But the here and now, like you're worrying less about tomorrow and focused on the here and now more so than you ever have before in your life. Is that correct?
Correct. I take today as I have breath in my lungs today. I've been given today as a gift. Yesterday is done. It's done. I don't know what tomorrow holds. So what do I get to do with today? Can I just give of myself today, whatever that looks like, to tell someone, have a great day, to tell my kids I love them, to honor someone or tell someone I appreciate them or pick up the phone and call someone and have a conversation with a complete stranger where I might not have had before. Being intentional in the day and in the moments because I've been given today and I don't know what tomorrow holds.
It's kind of nice when you have a scare like that to have the opportunity to be able to do all the things you just talked about. Because sometimes you die, you have that heart attack, and you don't get a chance, that second chance.
Yeah. And the second chance is what I'm grateful for. I think on any October 3rd now is heartfelt gratitude toward being alive. I don't know if I'll get 5 more. I'm predisposed to having another heart attack from hereditary high cholesterol. And my cardiologist, it was very clear. He said, you could be a vegan marathon runner and it doesn't matter. Like you have it. And so I don't live my days in fear of having another one, but I know I'm predisposed to it. But what am I going to do with today? What am I going to do? And am I going to honor today and the breath and the intentionality I've been given today?
Do you have to take medication from here on out?
Yeah.
Is that part of the routine now?
Medication every day. So stay on top of that. And 4 or 5 different things I take. And yeah.
How do you monitor to know if there's blockages? Like, how do they know? Or how would you know?
I'm very attentive to my body, right? Having had 2. So any shift or change in how my body is feeling, how my chest is feeling day to day, I do take my blood pressure in the morning just to get a level reading for the day,
Yeah.
right? But there's certain, like if I start to experience shortness of breath or shoulders start to hurt or, so there's some kind of bodily shift is going to be my best indicator. So you don't just get like an angiogram where they go in and they shoot dye into your vessels and
Yeah.
they can kind of see where the block is. They don't do that on a regular basis. It's just not recommended to do that. But any type of physical change or shift that is noticeable is my indicator to, hey, you might need to go in. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's been amazing to see the wake-up call in your life, just the way you're living intentionally day to day now. It's been awesome for me to watch, man. You're a different man. I can't believe it's been 5 years already.
Yeah.
Is it weird? Because we've played that course many a time since that event 5 years ago. Is it still bizarre when you go out there and you're walking the course at Wildwood?
It is. It hits me differently each time. I think the first couple times I would get kind of emotional.
Yeah.
And the last probably 3 to 4 times we've played out there together, like it's more joy.
Uh-huh.
It's more gratitude, less emotional. But it's also a mix, right? It's like that day could have been my last day.
Yeah.
But now I'm here with you playing this course again. And there's joy and there's gratitude and there's appreciation to be back together and experience more moments and, have our friendship just grow that much more,
Well, I tell you what, man, I love you. I'm glad that I get a chance to partake in your new birthday today. I'm glad that you reached out to me, and I'm glad you had a chance to share your story once again. It's pretty awesome. The last 5 years has been a wild ride, but it's been great to see the transformation inside of you. I'm happy you're here, man. It's good.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it.
All right, Josh Trainer, his new birthday, October 3rd. And we're going to get some dinner tonight after the show, which is nice. We'll keep things rolling here on the Rib City Drive. We got to talk some football next. Justin Hopkins of Scoop Duck, one of my faves. We'll get his insight on Oregon coming off the win over Penn State. We'll find out about Indiana, who's getting ready to roll into town. And then Brian Noe at 5:20. Big thanks to Josh Trainer once again for joining me to share his story. 5 years ago to the day we were on the course together, he nearly died from a heart attack, and now he is leaner, meaner, and very healthy, which is awesome. That is a blessing. All right, Justin Hopkins is up next. You got the Rip City Drive with Chad doing on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, Duck fans, the best place to go for analysis and information and recruiting news on your Ducks is scoopduck.com, and you can join right now for $1. Head to scoopduck.com, and the man behind that is the wildly fascinating Justin Hopkins, who's back on the Rip City Drive. Justin, my man, what's going on? What's cracking?
What's going on, brother? How's it going up there today?
Oh, man, it's great. The sun has come out. It's a beautiful weekend, and we got a nice bye week coming off the Ducks win over Penn State. I needed your reaction on a couple of things coming out of the game. There's so many things that impressed me, but a lot of people have talked about the composure of Dante Moore. What did you think about that performance and the way he conducted himself in a very tough ball game?
Yeah, I mean, that just feels like his Heisman moment, right? I mean, at this point, you kind of have to consider him the favorite, and it's going to be really tough, to pull him away from that. But, yeah, I mean, that environment, 111,000 people, obviously screaming, late night, whiteout, what an environment. And the way he handled it, I mean, he just never seemed rattled, didn't make mistakes. He had a couple throws that he threw the ball away that once again were impressive. Instead of trying to force something and make a mistake, he just kept within the game. And it's pretty surprising because, not many people were talking about Dante Moore, back in August necessarily as a Heisman favorite or necessarily as a high-end NFL draft pick. And now, all of a sudden, he's potentially the first, draft pick overall in the upcoming draft, and he's the Heisman favorite, and we just turned the calendar to October, so pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it really is. I've been very impressed with his play, very productive, and the composure throughout that game against Penn State was awesome. Now, you and I talked before the year began, and we talked a lot about the offensive line, especially with the tackles that came in Harkey and World through the portal. One of the most impressive aspects of the Ducks so far this year, Justin, for me has been how quickly the offensive line was able to come together and show continuity. And now look at the offense. Great balance, and they've gotten the pop back in the run. Going into the Penn State game, they're averaging about 7 yards a rush, which is up dramatically, about 2.5 yards a carry from last year. I love to see that. I mean, talk about what you've seen up front from the talent, the guys on that offensive line.
Yeah, it's pretty great to see the consistency that they've played with, and they have had some moments. But, again, you're looking at, a team that doesn't give up sacks, that really doesn't give up a lot of negative plays. Some of that is because of the escapability of Dante Moore, but there's a lot of it that has to do with that offensive line. The way they're making lanes for the running backs is really good to see. And if you weren't necessarily maybe sold on that group before the Penn State game, you certainly are now, right? I mean, tough environment. Once again, they have tremendous defensive ends on Penn State that were doing their best to get some pressure and get to the quarterback, and they weren't letting it happen. So to me, that was probably one of the biggest groups, and I know we talked about it before, that I had the most questions about before this season. Wasn't maybe necessarily sold after game one and game two. I thought they were good, not elite. And I think we're seeing a group that continues to get better each week and is coming together. And I will offer this, last year we had questions about the offensive line going into the season, and they weren't very good at the beginning of the year and continued to get better. I guess something that I think Duck fans should be hopeful about or be happy about is that at the exact same time compared to this year, I'd say this group is farther ahead. So if they can continue to get better, it could end up becoming a strength of the team overall.
No question. We're talking to Justin Hopkins, Scoop Duck here on the Rip City Drive. I thought the big key going into the game would be the Ducks' defensive front, controlling the Penn State run game on first and second down and forcing Drew Aller into third and longer situations. They did that. And so far, that defensive front, I know you were impressed with the work that Dan Lanning had done going into the year on the type of guys he was bringing in, but so far, they've been very stout up front. What do you think about that group?
Yeah, I mean, just watching Amari Washington has been such a treat. I mean, he's explosive off the ball. He does a really good job of anchoring that middle. I think coming into the season, we all knew what we were going to get out of Mateo and Tatum off the edge. Those guys are veteran returners, and big years were expected. But, you're talking about Teon Gray, Ashton Porter, and some of the others that have stepped in along with Amari Washington. And, that group is not only talented, but deep. And that is something that I think, Duck fans should be pretty excited about because, they were needed against Penn State, but they'll be needed as we get deeper into the season because those guys get tired. They're bigger bodies. They're working really hard. And to have that kind of depth that Oregon's been able to put together, again, I haven't even mentioned him, and I should. Maybe we're going to talk about it, but Bear Alexander really had a coming out game against Penn State. He's been somewhat quiet so far this year, but he had a huge game, and if he can build on that and continue making that group and that defensive line better, you've got to feel really good about that for Oregon and, hopefully potentially a national championship run.
Now, Justin, another position group that you were unsure of going into the year was wide receiver with the inexperience and with the injury to Stewart. But, I mean, through my eyes, that group has performed and been great through the first quarter of the season. What do you think about the receivers thus far?
Yeah, been a real bright spot. I think we all don't want to let the hype get too far away from me. But, you can't help but do it when you see him in the spring game and hear about him, from his peers during practice this fall. And he's been as good as advertised, right? I mean, made some really great contested catches, is doing everything he needs to do there. One of the guys I wrote about after the Penn State game was Gary Bryant Jr. And, we all know the name, just he's, had injuries, unfortunately, throughout most of his career and just hasn't really had a chance to kind of emerge yet. And I believe he's done so this year. I mean, he's been very reliable, hasn't posted huge numbers, but he's been there when Oregon's needed him. Also hasn't muffed any punts, which is also something that gets overlooked often. So just to see those two, and, Malik Benson has had moments. He's a big play guy. He was never really going to come in and be the consistent 7-8 catch kind of guy. But he was the one that when you needed a big play or when maybe the secondary got lazy, could have that spark for you. So it's been a really good combination. I know we haven't seen a lot of Cooper Perry and some of the others, maybe not as much as we thought, but it sure feels like that room is 3, 4, maybe even 5 deep. And again, with Dante Moore playing at the level he is and feeling so comfortable with the offense, it's clear that he really enjoys having those 2 or 3 or 4 options to choose from and get the ball out to.
We're talking to Justin Hopkins, Scoop Duck here on the Rip City Drive. All right, bye week for the Ducks, and then Indiana, a top 10 team, is coming to Autzen. I did not think before the year began that this game would be so huge, but it is. What can you tell us about the overall talent level that Coach Cignetti's put together and what we might see with the Hoosiers coming to town?
Yeah, this is not a game that myself nor many others really had circled, ahead of the year. And now all of a sudden, wow, we got a top 10 matchup. It's going to be in Autzen Stadium. It's kind of unique because let's be honest, we all probably don't know that much about the Indiana program. This is obviously, one of the new matchups you get by moving into the new conference, but certainly playing really good football there. Recently beat Illinois. I know that was a big win for them. They were very good last year. Had trouble against some of the bigger opponents they faced, but still had a very good year and are on the same track this year. So I'm excited about that one. I'm sure you are. And, something I've kind of looked at, I maybe didn't, pay close enough attention to. Obviously a very tough game at Penn State for Oregon. This bye week came at a perfect time, right? You get to kind of get everything healed back up, get these guys back on the same page, and get ready for what will be another tough game next week with Indiana. So, really nice bye week to fall in here for Oregon. Indiana is also on a bye, so both teams are going to benefit from that. But have to think, I came away from the Penn State game feeling like if that game was at Autzen Stadium, Oregon might have beat them by more. I feel really good about Oregon hosting Indiana and being able to play back at home. I think that plays very well for Oregon and their chances at hopefully getting another big win.
I agree. I've got a couple more questions for you. Aside from Oregon, what other team jumps out at you as being very impressive through your eyes? Could it be Miami or maybe Ole Miss, Oklahoma with their defensive play? Like, who else outside of Oregon has impressed you thus far?
Yeah, I think most, and I would agree with, have Ohio State, Oregon, and Miami as the top 3 teams right now, and you can pick the order. I think you can make an argument for all 3. Those 3 teams seem to have the most balance, seem to be good on offense and good on defense. Really surprised, honestly, to see Carson Beck kind of, I don't want to totally say flourishing at Miami, but he's having a good year and is running a pretty good offense. So Ohio State right now, I just don't know enough people are talking about them. They've been real efficient on both sides of the ball. They have very talented offensive linemen and defensive linemen, so they're very good in the trenches. Of course, they have Jeremiah Smith, who's obviously a cheat code on offense. The guy's just unreal. So those three are the three in my mind that immediately jump out. I don't think folks should totally disregard Penn State. I mean, obviously it was an overtime win. We think Oregon's a top 3 team. That means Penn State's probably not all that far behind them, if at all. So Penn State should be up there. I did like your Ole Miss suggestion. I secretly love Lane Kiffin. I would love to cover him for a year just because of his social media and what he does. But guy wins football games and knows how to recruit and build a team. So, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. Those are probably the main bulk of the teams that you want to watch for. I think LSU is pretty good, but still not quite sold on LSU, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, I saw him play. I watched that entire game with Ole Miss and LSU, and their defense is good, but they've got issues on offense right now. And I really like the play design for Lane Kiffin. Charlie Weiss Jr. in there drawing up the offense, doing a heck of a job. How much do you enjoy, Dan Lanning is becoming classic after games, but seeing him, raging as he's talking in the microphone after a big win, it's becoming one of my favorite things in the world.
I'm with you, man. It doesn't bother me one bit. I know it bothers other people, but typically they're losing to the Ducks, so that's probably just extra on top of it. I love the emotion. I mean, it's true emotion. It doesn't feel, it's not something that feels manufactured.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's the big difference, right? You see some of these guys, and it doesn't. It feels like he has a really good relationship with his coaches, with this team, and just you get that feeling of pride from him, seeing that all of his work and all of their work going into this team, making them competitive, making them good, is just self-fulfilling, right? And when you get that, you kind of just have no other outlet but to, scream a little bit or act like you're crazy. I know everybody wanted to say that, Dan Lanning was on coke or whatever. That was the common meme going around social media. But I just think that's him, man. That's just the way he's an intense guy. And I love that he kind of, wears his emotion on his sleeve a little bit.
Hey, Justin, I appreciate you coming on. And by the way, you're becoming a social media sensation, man. I can't wait to see your posts now. So keep them coming. We appreciate the insight and enjoy the games, man. Enjoy your bye week.
Yeah. Well, I got Nana's 91st birthday tomorrow, so we're going to celebrate my grandma, and we'll have football and a little barbecue. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, that's awesome, man. Nanas are precious, so take good care of her, and we'll catch up soon. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, brother.
All right, there you go. That's Justin Hopkins. Yeah, Dan Lanning did look like he had snorted a bunch of coke before he did that interview after the win. But I love it. I mean, because it is raw and real. And he's very intense, and he was showing emotion. And you should go to scoopduck.com for all of your Ducks analysis and recruiting information. It's the best. And Justin's awesome. And Justin somehow is everywhere all at the same time. Hey, Burkhart, that post, was he with 2 alleged porn stars?
OnlyFans models, maybe?
OnlyFans
was
models.
Something.
I love Justin. All right. And he's very impressed. Yeah, Dante Moore's been great. He's been balling out of his mind. And I think Justin's right. The bye week comes at a perfect time. You come off an emotional win on the road against Penn State. You need some time to regroup after a win like that. Come home, get some time off, rebuild the adrenaline, and get ready for Indiana. Because Indiana, I can tell you one thing, with Coach Cignetti, they're going to come in and fight. They're not going to lie down. That's a physical team, and they're going to get after it. But the Ducks will have the advantage. In fact, they're going to be favored in every single game they play for the rest of the year in the regular season. And they'll be on a crash course for Ohio State in the Big Ten title game, and then they'll have revenge coming off of last year's playoff loss. Basically, if you're a Duck fan right now, just like last year, you should be geeked. Everything that you could possibly want is right in front of you. It's just a matter of continuing to stay healthy. And the best part is, as good as some of these groups are playing, the receivers, the offensive line, they have time to continue to improve and get better, which is awesome.
I think it's kind of crazy. You and I talked plenty ahead of the year that with Evan Stewart out and the talent they lost, how the big question mark was going to be those wide receivers. Could they step up? Are they ready to go? They're going to go young. They've been incredible this year. Like Jacorian Moore has been unreal.
He's been terrific. When I watch him play, and I went in with the knowledge because the majority of people I talked to were concerned about the receivers more than any other position group. From game one up until now, they just look like a group of vets out there. Like, you don't notice the youth and inexperience. They're just balling out.
Yeah, it's been unreal. And then especially too, like the fact that you got guys like Kenyon Sadiq, De'Corian Moore, these guys who are enjoying, setting the edges and blocking too. Like that's just as important as catching a football, right? So yeah, people are buying in, and you're seeing the product.
All right, Ducks with the bye week this weekend, and then Indiana will be at Autzen. The upcoming schedule: Indiana on Saturday, October 11th, at Rutgers on Saturday, October 18th. That is a sneaky danger game to keep an eye on. Back home to take on Wisconsin. That'll be an easy game. Wisconsin, they don't believe in the forward pass. Their offense is almost unwatchable, and the Ducks should be able to hammer them. And then you get another bye week right before you travel to Kinnick Stadium to take on Iowa. That's going to be a tough game. I would say the three games that you look at with a little bit of concern: Indiana. Well, let's just say four. I don't think Indiana is a concern, but Indiana, Rutgers, Iowa, Washington. But the Ducks will be favored, and I would expect them to win those games. Iowa's tough because they're one of those teams where, like Wisconsin, they don't truly believe in the forward pass, but they're great defensively, and they're going to try to pull you into their type of game, meaning they're going to run the football, they're going to try and dominate time of possession, they're going to try and slow the game down, and they want to try to muck it up. And it's just a different team, different style, and a lot of teams aren't used to playing a team like that. So you got to watch out. It can be dangerous. I thought Indiana, coming off the big win over Illinois, might get upset by Iowa, but they're able to hold on and get the win.
That's why I came away impressed with that loss, or excuse me, the win against Northwestern, right? Because how you just described Iowa, Northwestern has to do the same thing, right? They have to slow it down, and they have to muck the game up. And they had real long possessions and all. I mean, through three quarters when the starters played, they couldn't move the ball.
Yeah.
Until they went third string for Oregon was when they finally started to move the ball a little bit. And I told you that at the time. What I like about this Duck team is Dan Lanning is able to win games with explosive plays. He's also showing that he can win games when it's just a physical, dirty football game.
It's a great point because inevitably throughout the course of an entire football season, you're not going to be able to win games playing your style of ball all the time. There's going to be a game where it gets slowed down. You're underneath the time of possession. You're not getting the explosive plays. So how do you find a way to win? Well, you do it through your defense. Maybe it's a turnover, special teams. You have the grit to find different ways to win. It has to be that way when you're playing a tough road game in conference.
Well, it's like I can go back to like Helfrich, or as much as I love Chip Kelly, right? Those two coaches built those teams on speed, right?
Yeah.
Go. And when they went into those games where they were playing the slower, more methodical teams, why do you think Stanford was a hell of an out every single time they played?
Yeah.
Because Stanford played that SEC Big Ten, beat you in the trenches, punch you in the mouth, grind this game away, and you couldn't adjust to it.
You're right. We got big offensive lines there at Stanford with Jim Harbaugh. That's the way they built it.
I mean, come on, Toby Gerhart. Like, that guy was just an old Mike Allstott style hit in the chest.
He was like the Cam Scatterbo type.
Yeah, just far less athletic, but definitely wanted to, hit you.
That's pretty much my favorite football player. Like, I love guys who love contact, who go searching out. They're not trying to dodge anyone. It's like, hey, I'm here, and I'm ready to take on every single one of you. Like, I love that.
Yeah. That's why my wife loved Jeremiah Mazzoli, because she hates when a quarterback runs out of bounds.
Yeah, Mazzoli would lower the boom.
He would.
That's why I love Christian McCaffrey last night. Like, he was involved in every aspect of the 49ers offense.
Yeah, you need that. That's why I like Kyle Juszczyk for the same reason.
He's so tough.
He likes to go hit people, man.
He can run, a great catcher out of the backfield. Minimal cost for a player that's that valuable.
Yep.
All right, we'll keep things rolling. Telephone number 503-248-0620 if you want to jump on board and comment. And we have an update on the Eagles situation with A.J. Brown. Apparently, he let his frustrations boil over with the cryptic tweets. So we'll hear from A.J. when we come back. Brian, no Fox Sports Radio 520, and you'll hear my conversation with Damian Lillard at 5. You get the Rip City Drive with Chad doing on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, Broncos are getting ready to take on the Eagles this weekend in Philadelphia. You would think that if you're the defending Super Bowl champs and you were 4-0 to start a brand new year, everything would be good. But apparently that's not the case because their star wide receiver, A.J. Brown, who's awesome, by the way. He's big, he's strong, he's the number one target for Jalen Hurts. He's great. But he's been putting out cryptic tweets, apparently frustrated with his role in the offense. It's like, dude, you're targeted more than anybody else in the offense. What else do you want? And, of course, the Eagles are still trying to, find their way. They're inconsistent with the passing game. They're not running the football with the same type of dominance that they did last year, but yet they're winning football games. Because good teams find a way to win on days when they don't have their best stuff, and that's what they're doing. But according to A.J. Brown, the Bible verse which he used to put out the cryptic tweet could be used for a variety of different reasons.
Obviously, you can use that verse for anything in life, so like I said, it's not directed at anyone. Obviously, I got a lot of stuff on my phone. I got a lot of memes on my phone, as people know. So I'm the meme king. So.
He's the meme king, according to A.J. Brown. Also, he informed us that it's not a bad thing to want the ball.
But I think it's fair to want the ball to get us going. Like last week against the Rams, I caught the sluggo, got the offense going next play, opened up for Dallas Goedert. The safety came over to my side and opened it up. So, I don't think it's a bad thing for wanting the ball. It's not just for targets or anything to put numbers up. But no, I see that we're struggling, and I'm a guy that wants the ball in those times when we can't find a way. Give it to me. Like when the game's on the line, give the ball to me. I want that. I want that pressure. I put it on myself, and I work hard for it.
Yeah, I think that's a healthy thing. You want your big-time star wide receiver to demand the ball, to want to have an impact on the offense because he knows when he's getting the ball that good things are going to happen. So I don't have an issue. And besides, most of the great wide receivers that we've known over the course of time, they're divas. And they're out there on an island. They need help from their teammates and the quarterback to get the ball. They like to remind the quarterback that they're open on every play. I mean, the whole thing, right? That's what they do. AJ continued and said they'd let frustrations boil over a bit.
Sunday after the game, I let my frustrations boil over. I didn't speak to the media. I had a chance to correct my frustrations, and I continued to let it boil over. That's on me. I take full accountability on that, posting that. My message on Twitter wasn't directed at anyone in the building. Not my coaches, not my quarterback, my GM, nobody. Like I said, I take full accountability.
I love that too. Yeah, that cryptic tweet, it wasn't directed at anybody in the building. Not my quarterback, not my coach, not my GM. I'm not sure I believe that. And he went on to talk about frustrations.
I think it's normal to have frustrations because of the standard that we hold ourselves to. We have a lot of talent on offense, and to be honest, defense and special teams have been low-key carrying us, and it's just like we need to clean up what we need to clean up and get on the same page and, and play to the ability that we say that we can and be who we are called to be. So it's a standard that we preach. And so it's easy to have that frustration. I think it's fair to have that frustration. But like I said, I just can't let that boil over.
Yeah, it's probably a smart idea. Don't let it boil over, especially when your team's 4-0 and one of the best teams in football. I mean, the way you handle this is pretty simple. You don't put out cryptic tweets to draw attention to yourself. If you've got issues about the offense, about the quarterback, about not getting the ball enough, and you're 4-0, just handle it behind closed doors. You don't need to go to social media to put out your frustrations or to air anybody out. Because, of course, when you do that, who do you think they're going to think you're talking about? The quarterback, the leader of the football team, and Jalen Hurts. I mean, it all goes back to Travis Kelce and what he said. He was commenting on A.J. Brown and the cryptic tweets and everything, and he nailed it.
You're 4-0, boss. Come on, man. It's frustrating for A.J. right now, clearly, because he's going to social media to let everybody know how frustrated he is. And where I show my frustration is when we're not rolling as an offense. And I think it's frustration. It's the desire to get it fixed. It's also really hard for me to get mad when we're winning. I think I don't find that energy or that that feeling in me if we're winning, if we're having success, if we're putting up points, if we're winning football games.
All right. So handle those matters behind closed doors. You're 4-0. Make sure you don't air out your quarterback like that. Put out cryptic tweets. And other than that, they're going to be fine. The Eagles have the leadership, I believe, to be able to overcome these type of obstacles. It's very difficult to repeat as champions in the NFL. You got to stay healthy. You've got to keep your team together. You know, when you start to win, everyone wants their piece of the pie, their attention. But I think the Eagles have what it takes. And most importantly, the Eagles have one of the most talented rosters in football. And regardless of the frustrations of A.J. Brown, when you play as well as they do at the line of scrimmage, they're going to find a way to get it done. And I think Jalen Hurts is the perfect quarterback for that team, and not just because of his strength and his ability to run, but his leadership. He's got a calm demeanor. I think the guys respect him. He's got a championship now. He lost another Super Bowl where he outperformed everyone on the field that day. You know, Jalen Hurts has done a heck of a job. The Eagles are going to be fine. But I do think the Broncos are catching them at the proper time of the season to be able to go into Philly and get a win. But I respect the Eagles. Howie Roseman is probably the best GM of football. Great roster. And what else is new? A wide receiver that's upset that he's not getting the touches that he believes he deserves. All right, we'll keep things rolling. Brian O, Fox Sports Radio is coming up at 5:20. Want to talk to him about some of the games coming up this weekend. So we'll get Brian's thoughts. But up next, you'll hear my conversation with Damian Lillard. Preseason will kick off next week. The first game on the road against Golden State on the 8th, back home for their first home game on the 10th. And Fan Fest is coming up tomorrow at 2 o'clock at Moda Center. Parking in the Garden Garage is free. Tickets are free. Go to trailblazers.com/fanfest to get your tickets now. It's general admission, so if you show up early and get in line, you can grab the best seat in the house. That's tomorrow at 2. Get your tickets now at trailblazers.com/fanfest. All right, it's 5 o'clock, Chad here. What's up, my friends? Hope you're enjoying your Friday afternoon. From the NFL, Carson Wentz will get the start in place of J.J. McCarthy. Once again, the Vikings and Browns will kick off in London on NFL Network at 6:30. Dylan Gabriel will make his first start in place of the ineffective Joe Flacco. Minnesota favored by 3.5. Jaden Daniels is officially a go for Sunday. Commanders will meet the Chargers in Los Angeles. L.A. favored by 3. Yeah, the Mariners are going to kick off the ALDS tomorrow, if you can believe it. They're taking on the Tigers. George Kirby gets the start for the Mariners in Game 1. That first pitch, 5:38. The game can be seen on FS1. Cubs and Brewers will kick off all the action. 4 games tomorrow. That one's at 11:08 on TBS. Elsewhere, the Dodgers take on the Phillies, and the Yankees will meet the Blue Jays. One other NFL note, Lamar Jackson has been ruled out. Ravens will host the Texans Sunday at 10 on CBS. Houston, a 1.5-point favorite. All right, big thanks to Justin Hopkins for joining the show. My good friend Josh Trainer, who's celebrating his 5-year anniversary from his heart attack. Brian No, Bino, Fox Sports Radio coming up at 5:20. Got to talk some ball with Bino. I love Brian. He's one of those guys where I know when it comes time to talk to him and I reach out, his answer is always the same. Yes, I would love to talk ball with you, Chad Doing. And so he'll come up in 20 minutes. Got some games to talk about with him. And we'll find out what gambling knows like him for this weekend as well. If you want to jump on board, 503-248-0620. Chris Burkhardt is here.
And Burkhardt's proud of you. You got the B no accent down and Chad doing.
No one does it like him. And when he comes on today, he'll do it. It's so loud in my ears when he does it.
It's really funny because my girls have mentioned it. They're like, is that like how you're supposed to say his name? Chad doing? And like they'll say it nice and loud, like or long. It's quite funny.
Well, Dave Barberas told me on Monday, I don't know if it was Chauncey Billups or one of the players, but they were doing liners. You know, one of the things they do on media days, they do a bunch of liners for their TV network, their radio partners. And so I had sent over some liners, and apparently there were a couple of people who butchered my name, Chad Doing. I've gotten that a few times in my life. I just love to think about Chauncey Billups saying Chad Doing. That makes me happy.
Yeah, I was Chad Doing. I was a Burke fart if people wanted to pick on me.
Kids are so forgiving and understanding of people's names and everything.
Yeah, it's
Burke fart.
Burke fart. Yep.
But in a way, it's like a term of endearment from your boys when you're younger.
A little bit.
Oh, by the way, I thought I should tell you I've really been getting into the brand new NCAA football game. It's fabulous.
Yeah, I think I looked the other day. Like I played like 5 days total. Like not I have played 5 different days. No, I have accumulated 5 days worth of gameplay.
Dude, you know what's scary too is like when YouTube tells me, here are your analytics for the month. I'm like, I don't want to see it. Way too many hours on YouTube.
Nope. No, to be fair though, your and I both our YouTube analytics are distorted heavy because you and I both are turn it on for the audio in the car people. So
yes, I do it all the time. I turned you on to YouTube Music, which you've been using frequently.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was free because you paid for the premium, so now you get YouTube Music. It's beautiful.
And with the algorithms, it knows what you like.
It has done pretty good. And you and I were talking about it earlier. It's led me to some new artists. Like I found this one. I tried to see if it was in our system. It's not, but they're called Bloodywood. They're an Indian heavy metal band. One of the very first heavy metal bands out of India. And oh my gosh, they're good.
Oh,
Shacker would love them. I got to show them to Shacker.
Love that so much. Also, I'd recommend, I'm halfway through it. It's like 2 hours and 18 minutes. Lionel Richie was on Joe Rogan, and I've listened to half the podcast. I love Lionel Richie. The guy's a super stud, great storyteller, and I've thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. And he's just now, I had to start preparing for the show today when he was starting to get into some Michael Jackson stories. And, of course, if you saw The Greatest Night in Pop, which if you haven't, I recommend it. It's on Netflix. It details the entire night in Hollywood of all the big musical stars making We Are the World. But anytime Lionel, or as Michael would put it, oh, Lionel, Michael Jackson talking about Lionel Richie and vice versa is amazing. Like in that Greatest Night in Pop when, Lionel went over to write the song. He was trying to come up with the song, working with Quincy Jones, and he got together with Michael Jackson to write We Are the World. And Lionel said he's sitting there in one of the living rooms, and all of a sudden this giant python comes out of nowhere and is trying to snuggle up next to Lionel. And, of course, like any normal human, Lionel's like, what the heck's going on? And he was trying to get away from the snake, and Michael Jackson was like, oh, Lionel, he just wants to say hi to you, Lionel. Can you imagine that? Sitting in someone's living room and a friggin' python comes out? I'm out of there, man. I've told you about snakes. I don't do snakes. And I don't want a python snuggling up to me.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
Yeah. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
You're sitting there trying to write a song with Michael Jackson. His python comes out to snuggle up on you. And he's like, Lionel, he just wants to say hi.
Yeah, there's some animals that I don't need to snuggle with. It's like my wife's brother. They used to have like a bearded dragon.
What?
Yeah, like a little lizard, right? And like they'd go in and they'd get it out and like it was calm. They'd pet it and like, you want to hold it? I'm like, no desire to hold that thing.
Yeah. My buddy Corey once said, come up here, I got to show you something. I went down into his room, which was kind of in a basement, and he's got this water feature and this miniature alligator in there.
Oh, my gosh.
And he's like, watch this, and he puts like a little goldfish in there, and the goldfish knows it's done, and then all of a sudden, boom. And I'm like, why'd you get this, and what's going to happen when it starts to grow? So a few weeks later, he's like, yeah, it's probably a bad idea. He took it back. I don't need that in my house.
When I was in Miami for a Blazer game, obviously it's the only reason I was traveling. But it was pretty cold, and so I was watching the news, and they were talking about keep your eyes to the skies, be careful of falling iguanas. Like what? Huh. Yeah, because when it gets too cold, they basically just they just freeze and they fall out of the trees.
Yeah,
and then they'll warm up and they'll thaw out, air quotes, and then go back about their way. But yeah, falling iguanas. Can you imagine just going for a walk and then boom, an iguana left?
And those things get big. And we've talked to Brad Bach in CBS Sports. He lives down there in the Miami area. The iguanas are a serious problem because people buy these exotic pets, and then when they become too much of a hassle or get too big, they let them go. And so these iguanas now are getting on people's roofs, and they're trashing their houses. And so Brad will sit around with a pellet gun to take them out.
Okay, that's kind of funny.
It is, but they do. That's how much of a problem it is. And then what do those idiots do with the big snakes? They let them go. And now what's happening in the Everglades? The pythons have taken over. They've mated. They've spread. And now they've screwed up the ecosystem because guess what? They eat everything.
Yep.
All right. Damian Lillard. I had a chance to catch up with him on Monday. He's back in town. He's happy to be back in town. And the first thing I asked him was, Dame, how did you celebrate when you got back to Portland officially as a Trailblazer once again?
Well, I had to get together with my family at my house.
Yeah.
I didn't share much about it with my family. Just as it was happening, I kind of knew some time before I actually signed back that it was gonna happen. But we all just got together. Everybody was excited.
It's funny. One of your cousins, Chris, I see him out at the golf course all the time. Yeah. We play golf together, and he told me a couple of weeks before I got the news broke that he goes, yeah, I think Dame's coming back. And I thought he was just pulling my leg. I'm like, he's not coming back. Come on now. And then when it happens, like, no way. But how exciting was that for you? Because I've got 2 kids. But when you got a chance to tell your children, like, hey, Daddy's not going to be on the other side of the country now, that's got to be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think that was one of the better moments, when I did, because, my kids are old enough now to recognize, we got to go travel to see my dad. And I actually took my kids to one of the birthday parties of a kid in Damien's class.
Yeah.
So I had them all with me, and then I had to go to the practice facility to sign the contract. So I just left there, and I didn't take them home. I just brought them with me because we had a time. So they were there when I signed the contract, and then after I did it, you know, they saw me do it, but you know, they young. So we got in the car and I was like driving back home, and my daughter was just like, "Wait, so like we don't gotta like get on a plane and fly to Milwaukee no more?" I was like, "No." She was like, "Wait, so you're on the team here?" Like she just kept asking, and I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "What? Oh my God!" Like, so just like that interaction made me realize like
It's a big
my
deal.
kids did fine, you know, because I saw them. You know, I got a lot of family here. They did fine, but it just showed like how much it did mean, you know, for them to know like my dad is like here.
Yeah.
You know, she even was like, "So you're going to be in your house? Like, you're going to be in your house?" I was like, "Yes." So just seeing how animated she was about it, um, that, you know, that meant everything to me.
That's awesome. You know, I get people who don't live here that ask me all the time, it's like, does Dame really love Portland? And I'm like, yeah, he said that from day one, and he's said it every day since. And I've seen you out in town before. You could be over in Northeast getting some sushi or wherever. But I was curious for you, like, you know, Portland's unique because we got Northwest, Northeast, North Portland. Like, which parts of town do you like to hang in if you're going to go grab something to eat or drink or whatever?
Man, I'm all over.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't say I'm in.
Not one particular spot.
I'm not in one particular spot. You know, I just find my spots and I go there. You know, and that's pretty much it. You know, I have my people all over the city, and that's just what it is. You know, I wouldn't say, "Oh, this is my area." I'm all over.
Yeah, that's great. What was the spark through your eyes that got you and Joe and the organization communicating again to where this became a reality?
Well, it was before I was waived. It was like, man, like early. I feel like it was pretty early in this season. Um, you know, when we came back and played here, I spoke to Joe, I spoke to Jody and Bert. But Joe and I had a conversation where we, you know, pretty much was like, you know, look, I don't have no issues with you, you know, and what happened. It was never because me and Joe always had a really good relationship, you know, even before he became general manager. So, you know, we both basically just made it clear, like, hey, it's no hard feelings, and there was no major conversation that needed to be had aside from that, you know, and we both acknowledged that to each other in private, you know, without knowing that this would even come up.
Yeah.
And then when this came up, you know, we spoke, and you know, we got together and kind of said the same thing, where, you know, I was like, we shared what we shared, you know.
Yeah.
When I say me and Joe had a relationship prior to him being general manager, I used to literally sit in his office and talk about players. And he ain't a Raiders fan no more. He ditched us, but he used to be. But it was just that. But you know, I think when we sat down, we both were ready to do it, you know. And I also knew that it was never the time. There was a rebuild happening, and I was like, man, I want a chance to win. But even when it did happen, that wasn't what in my heart I wanted to do, you know. And that was the hardest part, is that in my heart I was very close to just never doing nothing, you know.
Yeah.
But I was like, what if I just never find out, you know, what I could be missing out on right now? So
yeah. Now you don't have to
you
worry
live
about
and
the
you
what
learn.
ifs. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was told that, you know, when you put out a new album with your music, that you like to invite people over who you respect that know music, right?
Yeah.
Because you want their honest feedback. How do you enjoy that creative process when you're hearing from people you respect giving you their honest take on what you dropped?
I think that's one of my favorite parts of the process, is because you get to see like where you really are. And that's, for me, basketball is like my everything, and I love to do music, but like my life doesn't depend on that.
Yeah.
So I just want to do it, you know, at the highest quality level that I can.
Yeah.
And there's nothing better than being able to, you know, send a song to, like, Common is a good friend of mine, and just send it to him like, listen to this and let me know what you think, and know that he's going to take the time to listen to it. And then there's been times where he's hit me back like, no, I don't really, you know, this is not complete. You know, this needs something different. Like, he'll just tell me. He's told me that.
That's good. It's nice to have those type of voices in your life, man.
Like, I think one thing that I've always been blessed with in my basketball career, my music career, my life, is just people that tell me the truth.
Yeah.
You know, so I've learned to deal with stuff that I don't like to hear, you know, like address it and do something about it. And, you know, it's the same in my music.
I wanted to ask you about this opportunity at Weber State, general manager. We're seeing a lot of these opportunities pop up now, Andrew Luck at Stanford and so forth. How did that opportunity come to be, and what was your thought process in accepting that?
It was something we've been talking about for like 2 years now, like before it even turned into something, which is funny to me. But we have been talking about it, and I do my elite camp, which I did 1 year in Portland, and the last 3 years has been in Arizona. But it's more of a mentorship program, just about showing, you know, a lot of these kids the way to do stuff, you know, just as young men, and, you know, almost like how to be professional, like character and hard work and being coachable and being able to follow directions and just caring about stuff that matters and not all of the extra that, you know, social media and what it's turned into today.
Yeah.
And why there's power in that. You know, that's pretty much how the camp is run. And when I became GM, it was basically another avenue for me to, you know, have an impact and run like that sort of mentorship program through Weber State to help, obviously, lift up the program by being involved with it, getting better players, but also just having an impact on young men, you know, and sharing what I know and what I've experienced, and in ways that I know could help them, not just, you know, if they want to become pros or if they are to become pros, but just in their lives in general. That's really what it is for me.
I've got one more question for you. Because I've never asked you this, but there's a lot to choose from. 0.9 against Houston, then you come out and yell "Rip City" into the mic.
Yeah.
The closer against Oklahoma City. I also, my favorite was that happy hop that you had in the hallway in Denver after you won Game 7. But maybe it's something different. But what is your favorite memory in a Trailblazer uniform? What stands out to you?
When it comes to like shots and stuff like that, obviously the 0.9 and the OKC one are like big moments for me.
Yeah.
Because as a kid, I never walked away from a basket without hitting the game winner. Like, I would do it over and over, 3-4 times before I leave.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna hit a game winner.
You practice that and envision.
Oh,
it for
I got
years,
fouled.
Right?
He fouled me on the 3, and I got to make 3 free throws, and you know, we down 3. You know, I would play those types of scenarios out over and over as a kid, me and my older brother. So those moments, I love those moments, but the moment that we like beat Denver in that Game 7 and it was like Western Conference Finals, I was like, we actually like in the Western Conference Finals.
It's almost like you were processing it in the hallway.
Yeah, I was like, we actually in the Western Conference Finals, and like if we win this, we go to the finals.
Yeah.
And like that feeling is like we earned that.
Yeah.
And that was the first time where I was like, because I always thought we can win. And after that, I was like, we right here. Like, we could, if we win this, like, we go to the finals that year, we would have played Toronto.
Yeah. You could win
and
that
they were a
series.
great team, but I'm like, well, you're not going in there thinking we can't win. Like,
yeah. Like, you have no chance.
The hardest part was getting by Golden State. Like, that was the hurdle, which we didn't, obviously. But, like, getting there, that moment right there was like, man, we got, nobody would have ever. I don't even think they had us making the playoffs that year.
Yeah. That was great.
You know, here we are. But that was, I would say, that moment. That was a great moment.
Well, Dame, I appreciate your time. All I can say is it's great to have you back, man. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah,
I know you're excited too.
It's the best, man. The only thing that sucks is I'm not playing. Like
How much is that going to kill you to have to watch and not be out there on the floor?
I think it is going to kill me. It'll be hard to. It'll be hard to watch, but I think I'm able to see like the value in it. You know, our team have another year to grow and to like do more and learn more and experience more. And it's a year that I'm, you know, obviously I'm rehabbing my Achilles, but my body is not taking any wear and tear.
Yeah, it's huge.
And I'm still.
You've been taking wear and tear for over a decade, bro.
Over a decade. So I mean, being able to have this year, and I'm doing it as a part of the team, so
Yeah.
I'm still able to get connected with the team and to impact the team and share that space with the team and be back a part of the Trailblazers. It's a great feeling.
All right. I wish you the best.
Appreciate it.
All right. There's Dame. Big thanks to him. We'll come back. Brian Noe, Fox Sports Radio, talking ball next on the Rip City Drive. Bino! Fox Sports Radio is back on the show. And Brian, we got to start out with this, brother. Tony in Portland wants to know if you lost money on last night's 49ers-Rams game.
Well, first off, Chad, always great to be on with you, buddy. And no, it was a great evening. I can detail it blow by blow if you would like, because this is a good one. So I just went with 3 prop bets. I went with I had Christian McCaffrey receiving yards, which has been a gold mine, by the way, Chad. Like, all these dudes are hurt. There's no Ayuk. Obviously, Debo is gone, with the Commanders. There was no Ricky Pearsall. There's no George Kittle. There's no Jawan Jennings. you notice a trend here, right? It's target Christian McCaffrey early, often throughout the game. So his receiving yards has gone over every single game this season. Last night was no different. I also had in-game, I had Kyron Williams receiving yards over 27.5. It was sometime in the second half I played. They dropped a pass, and I'm like, he's going over. And then I had Mac Jones over 33.5 passing attempts. And he acted like his whole lower body was, misplaced at some point during the second half. And I'm like, oh no, it's flying over. This would be a gross beat if he gets hurt, as it relates to me, obviously for him too. But he gutted it out and got back in there, and so that sailed over too. So it was a profitable night. Very nice night gambling-wise.
That's great. All right, there you go, Tony. You got the word. Noah had a great night gambling on Thursday Night Football. I really thought it was an embarrassing loss for the Rams because you had the 49ers come in on fumes with their top 2 wide receivers out. You've got your quarterback out. Bosa's not on the field, and the list goes on. And the Rams have been playing as well as anyone. And then you see the mistakes last night, the self-inflicted wounds. They had a missed extra point. They got a field goal blocked. You had the fumble at the 1-yard line when they had a chance to win it. You had the turnover that happened in the first half when they were in scoring position. And then the kicker put on his dumb cap and did not kick it into the zone in overtime. And the 49ers got the ball at the 40 and went down and got the field goal. It's like, when you make that many mistakes, even for a team that's banged up, they're going to find a way to win.
Yeah, so many mistakes. And how about the fumble, dude? The fumble at the what? We've seen that. Like, how many blocked kicks we've seen this year?
Yeah.
Think about also these fumbles at the 1. The Patriots did that a couple of times against the Steelers. And they had a 90-some yard drive, beautiful, majestic drive all the way down the field. Fumble at the 1. You know what I mean? Like, that's happened numerous times. And for the amount of mistakes that the Rams committed last night, they had so many chances to win that game. And I get it, man. Sean McVay's killing himself for that play call in overtime, where I don't know how you take it out of the hands of Stafford there. But it's got to be a better play call if you're going to gamble and be risky like that. But what a way to lose it. I'll tell you this, Chad. Look, man. It's not to say that Purdy sucks. We've made that abundantly clear. But I believe the San Francisco 49ers would have had the exact same amount of success if they drafted Mac Jones in the first place. I think they would have been in a Super Bowl. I think they would have won a bunch of games. I think Mac Jones would have put up comparable numbers to Brock Purdy. It's not to say that Purdy's no good. He's good. But I think Mac Jones in that system, with those, look who he had with him last night. And he's throwing for about 350. Imagine if he had, a year or two ago, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, unbelievable offensive line, Trent Williams, vintage Christian McCaffrey, like peak CMC. He's putting up numbers. They're winning a ton of games. I won't come to the realization, because I don't think it's truthful, that Brock Purdy is some grand difference maker. I don't think he is.
I agree. You're 100% dead on with that. Now, if you're a journeyman quarterback or a guy who was drafted high and got discarded by your former team, just latch on with Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan. They're going to rehab you and put you in a great position. And I thought for Mac Jones last night, and you know how this works in the NFL, Brian, he's out there, like you said, he was taken apart at multiple times throughout the game, and yet he continued to show toughness and led his team to victory. I know one thing, he earned respect from every single guy in that locker room last night. That was impressive.
It was. And you're right, man. Think about the short time Baker had with McVay. Like, Baker signed on like a Tuesday. He's winning a game on Thursday. It was insane, right? Beating the Raiders the way that they did. But, I mean, Baker, he was on the fast track to being a journeyman. And he got with McVay a little bit and then landed in Tampa. And he's really made it work because he looked like he was on the Carson Wentz, 6 teams in 6 years type trajectory, and he's landed in Tampa and done a great job. And Mac Jones, man, I'll tell you what, in that Kyle Shanahan offense, here's the thing, Chad, that is often overlooked is when they drafted Trey Lance 3rd overall. It's like, oh, well, this guy, dual threat, the mobility. We're all, got to have the mobility. Mobility is great, but what you really need in today's NFL, and will always need in the future NFL, is the ability to process quickly. That is so overlooked. It's like, Oh, can he move? Is he mobile? Oh, he's not mobile. He's stationary. Forget it. Not interested. No, don't want it. It's like if you can be a quarterback that processes quickly, even if you don't have great athleticism, I want you as my NFL quarterback. That is such an overlooked ability. And Mac Jones certainly had it last night. There's no doubt about that with a B squad around him.
We're talking to Bino, Fox Sports Radio here on the Rip City Drive. The Sunday night football game was wildly fascinating, and I don't know what the Packers are doing at the end of the game, but they almost ran the timeout and lost the game to Dallas. It ended in a tie, 40-40. Are you okay with ties, or would you like to see the NFL change it up to where we can maybe have a winner at the end of a game?
Yeah, I would like to see them change it up. I don't like ties. I don't know anybody who does like ties. What I would like to see, Chad, is you hear, oh gosh, I'll tell you what sports radio death, and you might know this, is like you just throw out your idea like, hey, here's what I think overtime should look like, and then you get 20 calls of, all right, here we go, kickoff, all right, not like kicking off the game, all right, this guy hits from 50, the other guy hits from 55. It's like, stop, please just stop talking right now. I hate your idea. What I would like to see, and I'm sorry if this gets you 20 phone calls in the aftermath, keep it the way it is. I like that both teams get a possession in overtime. You play a 10-minute overtime quarter. If it's still tied after that quarter, I would have, like DJ Khaled once said, another one, Chad. I would have another 10-minute quarter. That's maximum. Okay, maximum 10 minutes. If it's still tied after that, it's just a tie. The chances are, with these kickers, the way they're just blasting kicks from 60-plus with ease, it's highly unlikely another 10-minute quarter is going to end in a tie. And then the wear and tear, you're talking about 20 minutes. It's a little bit more than a standard 15-minute quarter. That's not torturous. That's not crazy, just maxing them out and straining them to the max. I think it's reasonable. So I would like to see, instead of the game end like it did, last Sunday where it's 40-40 and tied, I'd like to see another 10 minutes. It's sudden death if it's tied after the end of the first overtime. And we have a winner, and we only have 10 minutes to figure that out. I think that's a reasonable way to do it.
I think it is a reasonable way to do it. My offerings for solutions would be one of the following. Either add 5 minutes back to the overtime period to have it be a 15-minute quarter, just like the rest of the quarters, and then you could have a tie at the end of the game if they can't find a winner. Or what I would do is, after the overtime period, just go to the college model and let the game be decided on 2-point conversions.
You know what? I would favor the 2-point thing more than it's just a tie. I hate ties. I don't love that we alternate 2-point plays, but I think it's better than just like, well, we played 70 minutes. We're still tied. No winner. No,
no one wins in a tie. It's like the Cowboys weren't happy. The Packers weren't happy.
Yeah.
It's so unsatisfying, and it's like, it's un-American is what it is.
I know.
We need to define a winner in this contest, for crying out loud.
Yeah, we really should. And like you started off saying, how about the Packers almost blowing that?
They're morons.
They had plenty of time. It's not like, the guy catches it with 10 seconds to go. They're scrambling around. They get the play off with 5 seconds. It wasn't like that. They had like 20 seconds. I think they had like 22 seconds or so, and they're just wasting time. Next thing you know, it's like, they barely got that incomplete pass with 1 second on the clock. They almost lost it outright. That was unbelievable, man. Terrible job by them.
That was really bad. In fact, I'm amazed week to week at some of the incompetence that we see from these coaches. I'm like, what are these guys doing out there right now? It's mind-blowing. And, I wonder, too, this weekend with the Cowboys, after seeing their defense, this feels like it could be a tricky spot for them against the Jets, because I feel like New York, even though they stink to high heaven, they can run the football, and the Cowboy defense may be exactly what they need to get some balance in that offense.
Yeah. It's let me go back for a second, Chad, and I'll go to the Cowboys. But you know what's funny is you probably relate to this, right? I think that there are times where the coach has to help the quarterback out, and there are other times where the quarterback has to help the coach out, right? Mm-hmm. So, how many times do you see where it's a delay of game penalty, and they show the coach on the sideline? And he's like, oh, it's like, dude, call timeout. Help your quarterback out. What are you doing? Like, and the Sunday night game where it took a little bit, that's where Jordan Love has to take control and be like, all right, let's go. Come on, it's go time. We can't have the game end with no time left. And he just didn't. I put that more on Jordan Love. But you know what's funny, man, is after the first 2 weeks, all this Packers love, right? They look like world beaters. They crushed the Lions. They crushed the Commanders, won decisively at least. And it's like Packers, 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 Packers. Everybody, Packers, Packers, can't get it up. And since then, they've lost to the Browns and tied the Cowboys. That is beautiful right there. But, hey, man, the Cowboys, their defense sucks. Their offense looked really good last week. How about the Jets? Is it just me, Chad? Are you a little bit surprised their defense stinks as much as it does? I don't know why they're so bad defensively.
Yeah, I thought with their coach that, normally a good coach, you'll see the team take on at least their expertise on their side of the ball. So I would have thought their defense would be much better, and they've been getting carved up, which is really weird. And it's funny because I heard Glenn come out a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, he apparently doesn't like it when people say the same old sorry-ass Jets. He's like, I don't even know what that means. And I'm like, Coach, let me help you out. For basically my entire life, your franchise has been nothing but garbage and bad decisions, bad teams, and a lot of bad football. That's why people say the same old Jets. I know exactly what it means. Don't act surprised.
I know it. It's like, well, you guys are 0-4 this season. So you guys haven't made the playoffs in the last 14 seasons. So
Yeah.
that's a start. That's just the start. Same old sorry-ass Jets. I get it. I can understand if you're like, yeah, I don't like that. That's fine, but I don't even understand that. It's like, that's a bad comeback.
It cracks me up. Now, one game I do like this weekend, it's a little bit stinky, but I'm telling you, man, the Saints at home, 1.5-point favorite over the Giants. And I know how people think. They're like, oh, yeah, Jackson Dart got the win over the Chargers. He'll have no problem against the Saints. And you got a desperate team in New Orleans. I expect the Giants to fall to the Saints on Sunday. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That's a stinky line. It is. You look at that and you're like, whoa, Saints favor? Jackson Dart gave him some juice. But you read the fine print and it's like, okay, well, no Rashawn Slater. He's out for the season for the Chargers. Joe Alt got hurt in that game. So the offensive line is compromised. The Giants have a really good front seven. And then also you look at Jackson Dart. He gave him some juice. He rushed for a bunch of yards, like 50-plus yards he rushed for. He threw for 111. And they lost Malik Neighbors for the season. You know what I mean? And meanwhile, the Saints, even though, they stink, they played the Bills tough. They've shown a pulse here and there during the season.
Yes.
And to be at home, absolutely, I think they're more than live in this one. They played the 49ers tough. They got blown out by the Seahawks, but they also played the Cardinals tough. So 3 out of the 4 games that they've played, they've at least been competitive. So it's not like they're just getting smacked every single week. So I'm with you. I think it's Houdat. They get their first win this weekend.
All right, I love that. Now, how about the Ravens, man? So Lamar Jackson, we got word today, he's out. And all of a sudden, the Texans are a 1.5-point favorite on the road. And Baltimore, they're struggling on both sides of the ball. And I just read this stat where with Derrick Henry on the field, they're like 32nd in the NFL in offense, and they're staring at 1-4 in the face. What a mess.
I know it, man. How crazy is that?
It's crazy.
It reminds me of baseball almost, where you lose a couple of games early in the season and you're like, big deal. There's so many games left. And then, lo and behold, those losses early on that you had no business coming up on the wrong end, they come back to bite you.
Yes.
And week 1 against the Bills, how you drop that game up by 15 points with 4 minutes to go.
Brutal.
Think if the Ravens are, 2-2 right now? That sounds way better than 1-3. But staring 1-4 in the face, I don't know how they're so banged up, Chad. That defense, they're the walking wounded. The Texans play way better defense than Baltimore does this season, and the injuries have a lot to do with that. But now you're down Lamar. Derrick Henry's not the same guy. You're back up with Cooper Rush, and I don't know how the defense gets stops. They're more than on the ropes in this one.
It's Brian Noe, Fox Sports Radio here on the Rip City Drive. All right, I want to keep you for another segment so we can close out the show together. Do you mind if we show some clock integrity and I bring you back?
I do not mind whatsoever, Chad.
Woo!
I'm all about talking ball, and you know me, I am a stickler for clock integrity.
Booyah! All right, brother. Brian Noe, Fox Sports Radio. We'll come back and continue to talk ball and close out the show together. You got the Rip City Drive. All right, Bino, Fox Sports Radio, kind enough to hang out for the rest of the show and talk some ball. Hey, Bino, some other games I'm looking at. What about the Broncos and Eagles? Is it possible that Denver getting about 4.5 points on the road, are they catching the Eagles at the right time? They're winning, but not impressively, and they're still trying to find their way with their offense, hit and miss with the run game, and, of course, A.J. Brown is upset. What do you think about this matchup with the points?
Man, you would think, like, the Eagles have just been begging for a loss for weeks now.
Yes.
And they're still 4-0. Like, they're the opposite of the Ravens. They're begging for losses but keep winning. The Ravens are begging for losses and they keep losing. So, man, if I believed in Bo Nix more, I would love your Broncos in this spot. I am not a believer in Bo Nix anymore. Are you still on the Bo Nix train over there?
I mean, I still need to see more. Like, this game right here would be a perfect example. He is beaten up on bad teams as a favorite. He has not been able to get over on quality teams in this spot. So, for me, this is a big test for Bo Nix to go out and close the game out against a quality opponent on the road. If he comes out and plays well and delivers late in that game, I'll walk away feeling a lot better or a lot different about Bo Nix.
Yeah, he should have time. If you look at the numbers, right, like the Broncos, a great stat. They've only given up 3 sacks all season. They're
terrific.
number 1 in the NFL. Meanwhile, the Eagles' pass rush, only 5 sacks from their defense. So that's they're not getting a whole lot of pressure on opposing quarterbacks. So, hey, Bo should have time to do something here in this one.
There's really no excuses this weekend for Denver. I think they're catching Philadelphia at the right time, and the Broncos' defense is good, like you said. They've given up the fewest sacks. They lead the NFL in sacks. Like, they should be able to go in there if Bo Nix plays the way he's capable of and winning that game. But if he doesn't, they'll falter in the fourth, and the Eagles will win another miraculous game the way that they do.
It really is wild that the Eagles' offense has been bad. They're still winning games. I mean,
they've won
like
20 of their last 21 games.
That's crazy. And listen, a lot of that is Jalen Hurts, where the game against the Rams, they're down big, and they come all the way back, and I don't know, they just have this switch. They know exactly what is needed for them to win games. And it's like this formula can't continue. Something has to change. They can't just stockpile wins playing the way that they are. But I do give them credit at the same time for having enough to win. It doesn't have to be a work of art. Just win somehow. You know, like Al Davis didn't say just win, baby, and make it look good. It was just win, baby. That's it. And that's what the Eagles have been doing.
Well, that's why I wish A.J. Brown would, maybe close his pie hole just a bit. It's like, dude, right. I know you want the ball. You're still getting the most targets in the offense, but you're 4-0.
I know. This drives me crazy.
Come on, man.
I know. And it's like, bro, you're winning. You are winning. You're undefeated. And now we got a cryptic post.
I know.
And
he
got
came
to
out
walk it
yesterday.
back.
He's like, I wasn't directing that at anybody on the team, coach, quarterback, or anyone. I'm like, come on, man.
Well, that part is lame, too. Because, like, here's the thing, Chad. Like, you hear this all the time, right, with the anonymous quotes?
Yes.
And I agree with Herm Edwards, where it's like, put your name on it.
Yeah.
The next, like, iteration of that is put their name on it. Like, tell us who you're calling out.
Yeah.
Who are you talking about? Because if you're not willing to put their name on it, I don't want to hear any of your comments.
I agree. All right, what about this situation on Monday night? Chiefs are laying 3.5 at Jacksonville, who's somehow 3-1. Do we have a live dog in operation for Monday?
Man, you'd have to say they're at least alive in this one.
Yeah.
But,
The Chiefs, I don't trust the Chiefs enough to lay 3.5 on the road yet.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
It's
because,
tough.
Man, I'll tell you what, I had a big win last week with Jacksonville. And so I watched that game against the Niners very, very closely.
Thank you, Brock Purdy.
Well, yeah, thank you. But that's the thing. You're +4 in turnover differential,
Yeah.
Jacksonville was, and they're barely squeaking that game out. You're +4, and you're winning by 5 points. Like, granted, that's on the road and this and that, yada, yada, but to be +4 and you're barely winning, it's
That's a
like,
problem.
whoa, man, that's eye-opening right there.
Who do you trust more, Trevor Lawrence or Bo Nix?
Man, that's I don't trust either one of those freaking guys. Man, I would have to say Bo right now by default. He had a really good rookie season,
Dude,
you know?
The Jags are winning in spite of Trevor Lawrence right now. It's so confusing.
I'll tell you what, Chad. Gambling Chad can absolutely relate to this. You look at players and teams differently when your cash is riding on them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I had cash
with
riding
a critical
on,
eye.
Yeah,
Yes.
with Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence. And when he's dropping back and throwing the ball, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even really want to look right now. That's how it feels time and time and time again.
Yeah.
Man, I have a hard time even taking the points with Jacksonville in that one.
I understand.
Casey looked completely different with Xavier Worthy. He means so much.
He does. Yeah, they're going to get better, especially when they get, a Sheree Rice back. They'll get better, and, Patrick Mahomes is going to figure it out. But you're right about that. People, when their money's at stake, like think about the game last night. How many people had the Rams tied into teasers and different things like that because they thought they were going to win the game?
Oh, man.
There are people that will never trust Kyron Williams ever again with that fumble at the one. I'm done with him. What's he doing?
I know. That's the thing in
You would
gambling.
lose your mind because they had the game won.
I know. It's the sickest thing, but as soon as you
You
start
fumble at the one? No.
I know, but if you start blacklisting players or teams, you're going to run out of players and teams to bet on, man. You got to dance with the devil. You got to get right back on that train. More times than not, it's the best thing you can do.
Now, I know the Chiefs are going to be fine, but again, that win, they dominated the Ravens, but I think it would be a fool's errand to put too much stock into the win over Baltimore in terms of what we might see on Monday because Baltimore is so depleted right now that it makes sense as why Kansas City was able to carve them up. You know what I'm saying?
No, I hear you. I totally hear you on that, and that's fair. It's and look, man, when you get more than a field goal in the NFL for a home dog in a primetime spot, a lot of times you're cashing those tickets,
Yep.
you know? So, hey, Jacksonville plus the points might be the right side. I'm just telling you, I got a hard time making that play. Like, I might wait until the end game and hope that KC gets the ball, scores a touchdown, and I can get, 5.5, 6.5, something like that. That might be better, a better, wait and see type approach with that one.
All right, one more game. Jaden Daniels will play. What about the Commanders getting 3 in LA against the Chargers?
I would like it a lot more if Terry McLaurin was able to play.
Yep.
And if their defense looked better. I don't like how their defense looks at all, man.
It's problematic.
It is. And look, what's funny, if you look at the Chargers, they're 20th in scoring offense. They're only averaging 22 points per game. That's only 0.8 better than my sad Dolphins offense. You know what I mean? Like that's what the Chargers are doing offensively. So they're not lighting it up. I like what Herbert has done this season, but their offense collectively is not lighting it up. And so to get Jaden Daniels back, no Khalil Mack, there are plays to be made against the Chargers defense. And Jaden's a special player. So to get him back, to keep it within 3, I think Washington's is a live dog to win this thing outright. But when you're getting points like this on the road, hey, man, I don't think it's the worst spot to think Commanders here.
All right, Bino, we got 2 minutes. Real quick, how great was last weekend, man? I woke up and saw Illinois upset USC. I watched Ole Miss and LSU. And then we got those 2 games with Oregon and Penn State, Bama and Georgia. It was like a fabulous sports weekend.
How much would you hate life if you were just a diehard Penn State fan right now?
And my coach was 1-15 against teams in the top 5.
Dude.
How bad is that? No.
Time and time again, you're just shrinking in big games. It would just be it'd be so bad to be a fan of that team. But again, small game James, so careful with Drew Aller in the first half.
Oh, my gosh.
Alarmingly careful.
Let's get out the training wheels.
Yeah, they had 69 yards in the first half. Like, come on. They scored 2 touchdowns right in a row. I don't know. That's sickening if you were on the under, too, Chad. That's a bad beat if you're on the under.
Goodness.
That's rough.
All right, Bino, you're the best, man. You can check him out on Fox Sports Radio. Countdown to kickoff both Saturday and Sunday morning, taking you up to all of the action. I love you, Bino.
Man, always great to hang with you, Chad Doing. Great stuff with Dame. You're a radio legend. I hope you have a great weekend and enjoy all the ball, buddy.
You got it, brother. There's Brian Noah. Big thanks to Chris Burkhardt. Big thanks to Joshua Trainer, to Justin Hopkins, and Bino. You guys have a nice night, and I'll be back on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the playoffs, and go Mariners.